Hey everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day so far and thanks for tuning in into this training video. In this video, we're going to be going over subcontracts and contractor foreman, what they are, why they matter, and how to use them effectively to track costs, streamline billing, and manage compliance. Before we get started, let's ask ourselves, what is a subcontract? A subcontract represents an agreement between your company and a subcontractor for a specific portion of the work within a project. So, for example, let's say you're the general contractor and you're hiring a plumber for all the plumbing work at $10,000. This is where the benefit of a subcontract would come. And you might ask yourself, well, why do I need a subcontract? I can just get the invoices or the bills from the plumber and just pay them off. Well, here's why you should have a subcontract. It leads to accurate cost tracking. Every subcontract agreement is logged as a committed cost. It streamlines your billing. You can generate bills directly from the subcontracts and no need to track invoices manually throughout the workflow. It also leads to better cash flow control. You can see committed versus billed versus remaining amounts for each subcontractor directly within the subcontractor module. And lastly, it's centralized documentation. You can store drawings, specs, the scope of work, agreements, and everything related to the subcontract all in one place. Let's get started. With that, let's create a new subcontract together. We'll head over to the top right hand corner and click on plus subcontract. Here, there's a couple different things to fill out, and please note, any item that has an asterisk beside it means it has to be filled out for us to continue. We'll go ahead and click on the project that we want to work on, and for subject, we'll call it plumbing installation. For the agreement number, I'll put in 12, and for subcontractor, I'll go ahead and choose Ron Beck Plumbing. If you'd like to make the subcontract billable towards your client, you can click this off and make it billable as well, and we'll get into that later on in the video. So with that, we'll go ahead and click on Create Subcontract, and we're on to a new screen within our subcontract. We have the project that we selected, the contractor, and the subcontract number, or also called agreement number, and a few things that carried on from the previous screen. We have the title, plumbing installation, issued by, and this will automatically be whoever created the subcontract and contractor foreman, today's date, and work retainage. Work retainage percentage or holdback is essentially how much of the overall project holdback you want to allocate for each invoice. For this subcontract, I'm going to be putting in 10%. As the next step, let's start adding items into our subcontract. In order to do so, let's head over to Add Items to Subcontract, and as you can see, there's 5 different ways to add items to a subcontract, and for this example, we'll do one of each. The first one is to import from our cost item database. The cost item database is essentially a database of different costs that you've put in here to help you import over to your subcontracts, your estimate, your POs, etc. If you'd like to learn more about the cost item database, check out our training video under CIDB, or cost item database. For this example, I want to import the cost of a few different sinks which I'm going to be installing. So I'll go ahead and type in plumbing, kitchen plumbing fixtures, and hit save. Now I'll change the quantity to 6. And I've added my kitchen plumbing faucets into my subcontract. The next option is importing from a change order. If you have an approved change order by the client within Contractor Foreman, you can actually import it directly into your subcontract by going to Add Item to Subcontract and clicking on Import from Change Order. Here, we have a change order that's available for the second floor bathroom remodel, which was not originally part of the scope of work. We can go ahead, click on it, hit Save and Close, and we now have that change order as part of our subcontract as well. The other way you can add an item into a subcontract is importing it from an estimate. If you have an estimate for the project that the subcontract is assigned to, you can head over to Add Item to Subcontract and click on Import from Estimate. Once here, you can click on the section and the item that you want from your estimate, very similar to the change order. We'll go ahead and click on Install Additional Bathroom Toilet from the estimate. Click on Import Items, and now this item is also part of our subcontract. You'll notice there was no cost code assigned because it wasn't in the original estimate, so we'll go ahead and assign one now and put it under plumbing. You can change any item directly through inline editing by simply double-clicking and updating as you need. The other way we can add an item is by importing it from our schedule of values. If you have a question about the schedule of values and what it is or how to set one up, please feel to check out our training video on schedule of values. We'll go ahead for this example and click on import from schedule of values. And as you can see all the line items from our SOV. I'll go ahead and click on the one for plumbing and select save and close. And just like that, we have our schedule of values line item inserted into our subcontract as well. One thing you'll note is that the line item we entered from our schedule of values did not include a unit of measure. We can quickly fix that by double clicking on the unit, and for this example, we'll simply put in lump sum. So with that, we can now move forward to the last way to enter a line item into a subcontract, and that is adding manual subcontract item. For this example, I want to be using some custom kitchen sinks that the client requested. So for this, I'll put in black custom kitchen sinks. Item type is material. Assigned to is going to be the contractor who's installing it. And for cost code, I'll also put in plumbing. For quantity, let's say I need 4. The unit costs are about $350 each. And I can add an internal description line item and call it black kitchen sinks requested by customer. And you can also add an internal note to you and your staff and whoever else in Contractor Foreman if you'd like. And if you'd like to add this item into materials item list moving forward to save you time if you need to replicate this item, you can leave this check marked. So with that, we'll hit save and close. And we now have our manual kitchen line item as well. Before we move on and wrap up this subcontract, there's a few more things that we can take a look at on the left-hand side. Under Documents, if your subcontractor is within the directory and uploaded into Contractor Foreman, you can actually just go ahead and view the insurance certificates that you've uploaded for them. Review the policy type, the policy number, and the date it expires on, and double check before you award them the subcontract. In addition, if you've already uploaded a PDF or a copy of their insurance, you can actually view it here as well. Underneath that, any associated bills associated with the subcontract will end up here, and we'll talk more about this shortly. Within the terms and conditions, you can add verbiage around the terms, the scope of work, inclusions, and exclusions. I've already gone ahead and filled this out, but we can walk through it together. For terms and conditions, I wrote subcontractor responsible for all work within the scope of work. For the scope of work, I put in subcontractor responsible for all plumbing fixture installation as per the drawings. For inclusions, all demolition to be included. And for exclusion, permit fees to be excluded and sent directly to client. Under files, you can add in pictures, photos, documents, or any associated items that you'd like to attach to the subcontract, including a PDF version of the signed subcontract. For this example, I also want to attach a photo of the kitchen sinks that the client requested. So when the subcontractor gets it, he can go ahead and actually take a look at the kitchen sink that I put into the subcontract. And lastly is notes. Here, if there's any internal notes that you'd like to include, you can go ahead and do so here. Once this subcontract is ready to go, we can go ahead to the top right-hand corner and click on View/Email PDF. From here, we can select one of two templates, items without details and items with details. For this example, I'll go ahead and click on items with details, and I can either download a PDF or email it directly to the subcontractor. Once everything looks good and I've reviewed the scope of work and the attached photos and files, I can go ahead and click on Submit for approval. I'll hit Send, hit Yes, and it's now been sent over to the subcontractor and the workflow has been moved over to Submitted. Now I'll go ahead and quickly show you what it looks like from the subcontractor's end. Here, I've just received an email, and for this example, I've sent it to myself, requesting that I sign. So I'll pull this up, and as you can see from the subcontractor's view, I can go ahead and review the entire scope of work and the subcontract, scope of work, all the line items that we added, the terms and conditions, and the photo that I clicked on as well. So I'll go ahead, click on approve, tap out my signature. It's not really the best. Hit approve. And I've now accepted the subcontract. So if I close this and go back to our subcontract and hit refresh, you can now see that in the workflow, it's now moved over to approved. Once the subcontract is approved, we can actually go ahead and create a bill directly from here and generate a bill. We'll head over to the top right hand corner and click on generate a bill. And from here, we have the 5 line items that we created together. For now, I don't want to bill for everything, but I want the subcontractor to get the deposit for the custom kitchen plumbing faucets. So I'll go ahead and click on 20% for the first line item, and I'll change everything else to 0. With that, I'll go ahead and hit generate bill, and we now have a bill that's automatically linked to the subcontract that we have and the 5 line items associated with it. As you can see, we billed out in this bill 20% for the kitchen plumbing faucets and 0% for everything else. If you'd like to see all the bills associated with your subcontract, we'll go ahead and go back to the subcontract, go under documents, and all the bills associated with the subcontract will end up over here. So with that, we've now covered subcontracts. This subcontracts module in Contractor Foreman will help you to track committed costs accurately, streamline your billing by generating bills directly, and help and ensure compliance with insurance and contract terms by double checking before you send over the subcontract. By setting up and managing subcontracts correctly, you'll have a stronger financial control, smoother billing, and better documentation across all your projects. If you need help or have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us by the live chat or send us an email at support@contractorforeman.com. And if you'd like to have any more in-depth training, make sure to book a session on our training page. Thanks for watching and see you in another video.